Greetings, everyone. We are so excited to be here. My name is Leslie Montgomery, and you are tuned into LKM Kingdom Living Leslie's Lessons Learned. Yay! And we're not just pushing along, we're here. And today's topic kind of was flipping back and forth, but um, the topic is delay is not the time to give up. Just trust the process. That's all I put in there, but it says, even when it's unclear. And that's what we're going to talk about today. Let's get started. So, Minister Wanda, hey, Minister Wanda, how you doing?
Hey, good morning.
Let me and greet those that are here already. Lady Dana, Lady Doreen, Lady Michelle. Thank you all so much for being here. And I know that there's others on that have we don't know. We want to say welcome to each and every one of you. Thank you so much for being here. It would not be the same without you. So we're just so grateful that you're here today. I'm going to look in my mirror and I'm going to start with that today. And as I look in my mirror, you know what? You know what I want you to start doing when you look in your mirror? Stop looking in your mirror saying, is life worth living? Stop looking in your mirror and say, do they really need me? I want you to look in your mirror and say, I love myself. I am needed. And today is going to be a good day. That's what I want you to say. Don't look in the mirror and say, what if? Look in the mirror and say, it is what it is. Put it into activation, what it is. It's not is life, life is. So as we go on today, and I'm just so excited because yesterday I couldn't say nothing to her yesterday too much. Yeah, I
And
know
don't
you don't
do it
want.
today. Don't.
Listen, I honor you, and I'm just so grateful that you are here, alive and well. And yes, you, as always, will be a little mad at me, but happy birthday, Wanda! Happy birthday
Oh my God. Wow.
to my girl, Minister Wanda. Just so grateful for you and so appreciative of you and what you have done for this ministry, how you come on and you pour into the people. You don't have to, but you do, and you look forward to it. So I wanted to make sure that I honor you today and say happy birthday to you. I'm so glad that we crossed each other's path and we are on a journey together because life without you would be like a world without color. And you're there in all your beautiful color. And I'm just so excited. Yeah, I'm just chatting away this morning. But uh, I wanted to really honor you for what you've done and who you are. Um, Let me do this before you.
Thank you. Thank you so much. She does look beautiful today, doesn't she? In all her color. The hair is fly. I just want you to know the hair is fly.
Oh,
The hair is
thank
fly.
you.
The colors look amazing on you. Thank you.
I'm, I'm trying to keep up with you. So we have a different video today.
Still talking about it's still around your words shape your world and being a part of a voice activated kingdom. So we're gonna do something just a little different today. I hope you enjoy it.
Hold on. So you mean to tell me, hold on, that she was barking, and and a real dog pulled up on her like, say less. Hold on. I got a question because nobody's talking about this. But hear me. She was identifying as a dog according to the video, and she was barking. But are we seeing a woman that actually knows how to speak dog? Here's why I'm suggesting this because I think I know what she was saying. She was saying unaware because she didn't know what she was saying. She was woo, woo, woo. But what she was saying was that she wants all the smoke with any dog that's present. Here's why I suggest this, because she wasn't doing anything wrong, right? She wasn't hurting anybody. She was just barking. And what she was barking literally had to be, come see me. I want all the smoke. Here's why. The dog came and attacked her. He did not fact check. He didn't ask no questions. He heard something and responded immediately. Here's where you missed the message, because some of you live this exact same thing in your real life. Because whether you believe it or not, your words are doing way more than just leaving your mouth. Even the Bible says death and life are in the power of the tongue. And in psychology, that's called self-conditioning. Your brain listens to you more than anybody else. So yeah, keep saying you're broke, you're nothing, not smart, you can't do nothing right. Your mind is taking that as instructions. Let's say this hypothetical situation is real, right? The dog did not know, the woman didn't know, woo, 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 meant I'm here for all the smoke. The dog said, what? Say less. Woo! So be careful what comes out of your mouth, because all that barking could actually mean something.
And I turn it over to you.
When I saw that video, now I've seen I actually saw the video before and I was like, wow, like she's down on the ground, literally barking, talking about she identifies with being a dog. She identifies with being a dog. Had no idea that this dog was gonna come up and attack her. But what I love about him using this video is exactly what he said. You must be careful what comes out of your mouth. Just like the other video, we say your words will they shape or change your world. It's the same thing. So little did she know that, okay, you identify as a dog. All right, here comes a dog identifying with you. Right. And so we must be very careful what comes out of our mouths, because our words shape our world. So, like he said, keep saying you broke, you're going to be broke. Keep saying I'm sick, you're going to be sick. Keep saying I'm worthless, nobody cares about me. Okay, that's what you're going to get. That's what's going to come to you. So we have to, because we live in a voice activated kingdom, we must be very cognizant of what comes out of our mouths. We must be very aware, very alert, very intentional about what comes out of our mouths. Your present situation might be that right now you are in a few little financial strains, but we don't say that. We don't say that. There's other ways to verbalize that without saying it in the negative. And why that's important this morning, because of the title. Delay is not the time to give up. You might be waiting, and in delay, but you don't give up. And if you always out of your mouth, things are never going to change. It's never going to get better. Yeah, I read these promises every week, but I don't see nothing happening. And I sow and I give and I tithe and I give my offerings and all of that, and I'm still having financial situations. What is going on? This stuff don't work. God don't care about me. Why is he blessing other people? He not blessing me. Why does their family look good and everything's working out? Why did their marriage work? Why am I not married yet? Everybody else getting married around me. I'm never going to find nobody. If we continue to say things like that, then we literally are shaping our world. And just like Doreen says, change your words, you change your world. So we want to bring you the same message today, but from a different perspective. Ms.
Yes. So good, so good, so good. I had several titles, but the first one was the one that I came up with. At first, it was, and you already said it, delay is not the time to give up, not the time to quit. Just trust the process, even when it's unclear. Your story is still unfolding. And then the other one was, delay is not your signal to quit, it's your moment to recalibrate, shift, change those words, grow, and prepare for what's next. So, we're going to talk about that this morning. Yeah, we're going to talk about that this morning. And if you think about it, we've been talking about from enough is enough to pruning. I forgot what did we talk about? Pride.
Mm-hmm.
And now we're talking about don't give up, don't quit. And this might be a time when it looks like everything is gloomy in your life. It might be a time when it looks like nothing is going right. I don't have my Bible up here. I was reading yesterday about a portion of Job and what Job was like. What did I do wrong in so many words? And he was breaking it down. Is this what's wrong? Is that what's wrong? You know, but even in all that, because yeah, I get it. The place that he was in, to be able to think, my goodness, what is going on? There's times in our lives when it looks like everything is falling apart, nothing's going to work out. And you have to go through, and people like to call it a Job experience. You have to go through an experience and in the process because of the shift that's taken place. In Job's mindset and all, he had a shift that uh, was taking place in his life. There was a maturity level that was coming. There was and it was all because Satan challenged Yahweh. He challenged him. Uh, he wanted to know, he said, Where you been? And he said, to and fro, seeing who I could devour. And he said, have you tried my son Job, in so many words? And he said, man, you got him so tied up. I can't do nothing with him. And he said, try him. And he was like, he'll curse you. He challenged the father. And when he challenged the father was like, go ahead. But the interesting thing was that even through it all, he knew the relationship he had with his son Job. And he said, do what you got to do. Do what you got to do. So in the process, everything he was able to touch but his soul. So, and he racked up. He, one thing after another. How many people would even be in their right mind after that? You took my children, you took my herd, everything. He didn't just, I'm going to say, everything materially he wiped out. Then he attacked his family. Then he attacked his body. But the interesting thing is that the first set was the cattle, the house, and the children. And then he went back before the father, and the father allowed him to attack everything in his body, but his soul. It's everything. But it wasn't that. It was like he had stages. And after he finished that, he went back to the father, and the father released him to do more. Sometimes we go through areas that it's like you got a rubber band around you and it's squeezing you. Job had to feel like he was he might have had a temporary loss of mind, all that he went through. If you listen to, because after that, everything is Job, how Job felt, what Job thought, how he spoke, when he was asking the father, like, what is going on? Why is this happening? But I think it's 35 chapters. And in that meantime, it's all about Job. Not saying that the whole thing wasn't, but where he was, how he looked at the things. When I say that, when he expressed to the Father how it seemed to him. He was getting ready to say something. Look like you've got to come. And so there's some things that would make you want to give up, make you want to quit. Job's wife said, curse God and die. You know what I mean? Just let it go. Give up. And he was like, you talk as a foolish woman. Now, he just lost everything, his money, his family, you know, his houses, you know, only one servant would escape to tell him what was taking place. And through all those things, he still trusted the Father. Not sure what the outcome was going to be, but he knew he had nothing else to stand on but the Word, the Father, the covenant, the relationship. So, my question to you would be, is your relationship big enough to withstand what the enemy would try to bring up against you? And I'm not talking about your relationship with the enemy, the relationship with the Father. Pastor Jackie, greetings. Frida, greetings. All those that have tuned in, thank you so much for being here. Take a moment and hit the like sign, share, and subscribe. Minister Wanda?
You know, as you were talking about Job, I think Job is one of the greatest examples we have of delay and
Him
waiting.
and, wait, him and with the D. Sorry, keep talking.
Waiting.
Daniel.
Daniel. Yes, yes, yeah. Well, Daniel and well, we got a few,
We got a
but
few.
Job might be the greatest one because
Yeah.
it really doesn't give you a timeline of how long he went through this that Yahweh allowed to happen in his life. Job didn't do anything wrong. He just happened to be chosen. He just happened to be chosen, right? And that's the thing. His recovery from this, his Yahweh bringing him out of this, literally was delayed. But you, in just like this, you can't give up. I mean, I am more than positive every day he woke up. Some days he probably didn't even want to wake up. Well,
I
if
know that's
you
right.
let me go, by the time this body was going on, he's grieving and you have lost, and I've lost all of my children. I've lost all of, because when he lost his stock, cattle and herds and all that, he
Mhm.
literally lost his livelihood. That was his income. That was how he was making his money. And then I think there was a big fire. So that sounds like that could have taken out his crops and things like that, right? And so everything that Yahweh has blessed him with is now being taken away, and he has no idea why. And I know that all of us at some point in our lives have had some things just that Yahweh blessed you with, and suddenly it's taken away, and you're like, what did I do? Why are you punishing me? And are it, what's going on? The devil this and the devil did that, and blah blah blah. And I love the story Apostle told about the devil sitting on the steps crying. It in the form of a man, and the family had moved in, and the little girl came up to them and was like, "Why are you crying?" He was like, "Because all these people in here keep blaming everything on me." And it was the devil sitting there crying. And a lot of things, sometimes he'll be happy to take the credit for it, but a lot of things are not him. Sometimes Yahweh allows these things to go on to see if we will trust him. And when we look at Job, Job was chosen to be stripped. Job was chosen to be afflicted. Job was chosen to be the example that we all have today. And it literally was delayed. He didn't bring him out right away. And like I said when I started, we do not even know the time frame that it took. At least I don't believe we know that it gives an indication of how long this took, whether it was months, whether it was a year. We have no idea, but we do know the end result, that Yahweh did put an end to what he allowed. And because he allowed it, he restored and gave him even greater. Prophet Leslie brought up Daniel in the lion's den. You know, he didn't know how that was going to come out. He had no idea, but he knew who he trusted in. He knew who he was standing up for. He knew who he had the relationship with. Yahweh, his Elohim. And I believe it was like, if he don't bring me out, he still, it does not stop him from being the Elohim in my life. Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego, who refused to bow, was like, yeah, we cannot, and we shall not. We will not bow like everybody else. We serve the true and living Elohim. And they was like, no problem. We gonna turn up this furnace and we throwing you in there. Now it's like, okay, Yahweh, we really about to go in here. They done turned the furnace up. We are about to go in here. Now, it to the natural eye, it looks like they need a miracle. He needs to hurry up quick, fast, and in a hurry. But again, we have to wait and trust Yahweh. And it, to some, it might have looked like that was a delay. But he allowed them to be thrown in. It does look like a delay, because some might say, well, he didn't even have to let them go through that. But he did have to let them go through that, because they needed to know, and those around, and now I'm going right back to what we talked about last week, those around needed to see, this nation needed to see who the great I am was. And so they threw them in the furnace. But when they looked in the furnace, this is what I love about the story. When they went to check, that fire was so hot that it burnt up the ones that went to check. And then they were like, we threw 3 in there. We put 3 in there, but I see 4 walking out in there. That one looks like the Son of God. Come on now. Delayed is not the time to give up. And then my final example, probably not the last, is the one we talked about last week with Yeshua and Lazarus. And it definitely was a delay. It was most certainly a delay. It was a 4-day delay. And I like what you said, even when the way is not clear, and I hope we get to talk about that a little bit. But this was, if you show up, our brother will be healed. We know it. We've read so many places now in this this reading that we are reading, that's what people did. They touched the talit. They touched the hem of the talit where the healing is, because at the folded in the hem of that talit is a blue cord, which represents healing. And so they wasn't just a woman with the issue of blood, but a lot of people reached out and touched the hem of his garment, that talit, because healing was in that talit. And I know Marion and those around was like, if Yeshua had been here, he could have just touched the hem of his talit. He could have spoken a word, and instantly he would have been healed. A lot of us sometimes, Father, all you have to do is speak a word, and this going on in my life will be gone. All you have to do is speak a word, and I will be healed. All you have to do is speak a word, and I can get this job. All you got to do is touch their heart. All you have to do is speak a word. Father, if you would do something, if you would say something, if you would move in my behalf, I would not be in the situation that I'm in. But delay is not the time to give up because it does not mean that it will not happen. We have to learn to trust the process. We have to learn to trust that the fact that the way might not be clear, we might not be able to see the end. We might not even be able to see into around the corner, but trust the process, trust the fact that Yahweh has your best interest at heart. Yahweh knows what's best for you. Your will is not his will. And he has an expected end for you. So you can't give up. You just have to trust him and wait on him. And one of the things we talked about is impatience while waiting. And sometimes we have to learn to be patient and trust him while things are being delayed. Prophet Leslie.
So that's so good, so good, so good. I thought about 100 things while you were speaking, and one of the things I thought about, it, you might say I'm crazy, but I don't know. Let me say greetings to Elder Page and Alicia that has joined us. Thank you so much, and anyone else that has joined. We're so happy that you're here. I thought about on the playground when they put your hand back and say uncle, say uncle. It was almost like that. That's what the enemy wants us to do. Just say uncle, you know. Give me the satisfaction of saying that I'm great. Because that's what it is. If you said uncle, whoever was turning your hand back began to be the better one than you are, because you didn't help, you didn't hold out. We have to hold out. It might not look like it's supposed to look. It might not feel like it's supposed to feel. But if you hold out, and one of the things you were talking about with Lazarus, the people that was around them said, he shouldn't have never died. That's what they said. He shouldn't have never died because Yeshua should have been here. Can I promise you that even though he was delayed, he was right on time? Even though Job went through everything he went through, the Father was right on time. But let me say this also, that while you're going through this process, there's something he wants to change in you. Before Job even got the benefits of what he wanted, he had to repent. Some of us are going through, we're mad because of where we are, and we're not allowing the process to completely come out, whatever you want to call it, unfold. The Father knew that Job was not going to give up, because he knows beforehand. He created us. And even though he has a free will, he knows who we are. Listen, Wanda, the way you are, he's like, that's how I made her. Me, the way I am, he said, that is how I made her. He knows the inside and out of each and every one of us. Those that have a covenant with him and those that don't. Sometimes you got to go through to build that covenant to allow him to be greater in your life than your situations. Material things sometimes comes, and we get more material things. We get further away from him. Sometimes we only know him because we go to church on Sunday and we never sit down and have a relationship with him, and you're wondering why you're going through the things you're going through. He's trying to get your attention, to shift the pattern of your life, to cause you no longer to be bound to the world and the things of the world. Yeshua came 40 days and 40 nights in the wilderness, that we would have the opportunity again to go to the Father on our own. So even in the process of that, the making of the Father, the making of the shift. And I'm not saying he already made us, but the shift to create. He said, put us in what they talk about, the potter's wheel. There's always something that's got to be fixed. There's always a crack that's got to be sealed up. There might be your pot might be leaning. We used to take pottery when we were younger, and some of I know my designs was like, I didn't even want to take them home. They was lopsided and all that, but they had been baked, so they weren't. There's not much shape that's going to change from that. But if we think about the Father, and you talked about Daniel being, not Daniel, but the three Hebrew boys being in the furnace, there's a purification that has to take place. And through that purification process, sometimes the delay is longer than you want it to be. Longer than you want it to be, because he's doing something on the inside of you. There was a song we used to sing, something on the inside, working on the outside. Oh, what a change in my life. And, and I used to say, that song is wrong. It should be the other way around. Oh, no. He's concerned about what's on the inside of us. I could dress this body up all day long. And from First Peter, it tells the women, and people say, "Oh, you're not supposed to wear braids and earrings." That's not what it's talking about. The Lord is like, you can wear all. Paul is like, you can wear all the jewelry you want to wear. You can have the finest hairstyle you want, and you can have the finest clothes you want when you go into the house of the Father, and still be nasty. He's talking about that inward part, that nasty part that causes you to not represent him well. He wants us to represent him. So he's got to get all that stuff out of us that does not represent him. And like I was saying, the feast that we just came out of, he was tearing me up, tearing me, just pulling stuff out of me that didn't need to be there, that didn't represent him. And I want to represent him. I want to represent, hey Ash, I want to represent him. I want to be in a place that, and no, I don't want to be self-righteous. We talked about that. I don't want to be uppity. I don't want to think that I'm better than anybody else because I have a relationship. I want to be humble, but I want him to be inside of me. So what do they see? The light. And yes, it's been a process. Yes, I had to get to certain stages so that he could begin to wake me up in certain areas and make me understand things and help me to see that things aren't the way they were, but I had to get there.
Yes. Yes. No, sometimes we delay our own selves. We delay our own selves because what he's trying to work out in us, we keep ignoring it. And so we keep ourselves in this delayed position because we aren't hearing him. We aren't seeing, we aren't allowing him, as you said, to pull out what needs to be pulled out. That's why we have to stop and say, okay, what are you trying to teach me? What are you trying to show me? What is there still some pride in me? Is there still some arrogance in me? Do I still have some anger issues going on? What is it that am I impatient? What are you trying to work out in me? Do I have a lack of trust? Am I still have some doubt in you? And do I not have the faith that I thought that I had? What are you trying to show me, Yahweh?
About me, not nobody else.
Come on. Because his timing is not our timing. Our timing is not his timing. So sometimes if we're still sitting in this, we have to sit back and look, okay, this might be about me. What are you trying to do?
Right.
What are you trying to do? Job was chosen, but then Job also learned some things about himself as well. He learned some things about himself as well. And he learned some things about the people around him. Yeah. So when things are going on, turn on that discernment, turn up your ears, open your eyes so that you can see around you and you can hear clearly, because there is something that Yahweh wants us to learn and know. And we say this all the time. He will not put more on me than I can bear, until you start, he put it on and you start bearing it. And then it's like, oh no, take this off. No, literally, if we would understand that he really, honestly, is a loving father, and he is not going to give you something that you can't handle. He's not that type of God. He's not that type of Elohim. He's
He
not going
created
to
us.
give you something that's going to just take you out. So if he allowed it, you can handle it. You need to know he got more confidence in you than you have in yourself. So if he allowed it, let's find out what the reason is behind it. Can we trust him? Delay is not the time to give up, but you got to trust the process.
Gotta trust the process. Have to trust the process. And when we learn, because that's another thing we have to learn. We have to learn how to trust the process. We have to learn how not to. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everybody, for blessing us with
Thank you.
the wishes of our birthday. I just think it's. I'm shifting now for a moment. I just get so excited when I think about it. Last Sunday was Alicia's birthday. Yesterday was your birthday, and mine is Tuesday. How we're all right there together, And I just say, I'm like, Yahweh, you did that for a purpose. There's a reason in that it was done that way. But thank you all for honoring us on our birthday. But it is so important that we understand that there's a lot of pivots that have to take place. We have to pivot in life. We have to line up with our with who we are in Yahweh, not just in ourselves, but in Yahweh. The main thing he wants, and this is what we have to understand. We are kingdom builders. And we can't build the kingdom any your kind of way. We can't represent the kingdom any your kind of way. So he's always working on us, always changing us because, and what did David say? I was shaped in iniquity in my mother's, what, I got to turn to it. I had something else up, but go ahead.
Born in
Uh,
sin and shaping in iniquity.
uh-huh.
Mhm.
Yeah. And so when we think about that, because even in that was so cool how he said that, because then he turned around and said, nevertheless, you know, it was like, yeah, that might be the case, but that's, you're not concerned about that, you know,
Right. And
you know.
he definitely, while you looking for, he definitely was delayed. First, how he was treated in his family, because he was an illegitimate child, so they kept him in the field and hid out. You put that one over there. That's the
Uh-huh.
one we don't talk about. He's
Yeah.
in the field, right? And then
Yeah.
he's anointed king, but he definitely wasn't anointed king and then walked straight into the throne room.
Not at all. It was
There was
years.
such a process and a time and circumstances and situations that David had to go through before he actually had that crown on his head and he was made king, but he was anointed king. But it
Yep.
didn't happen right away. But because it was delayed, didn't mean it wasn't going to happen. Because it was delayed, did not change what Yahweh said about him. Because it was delayed, did not mean that even though he's promised the kingdom, did not mean he wasn't going to have to go through some things before he got to the kingdom. And he had to go through some things.
Had to go through something. He had to mature. He had to grow up. And that's even in our lives, we have to mature, we have to grow up, and the more we position ourselves, and the more we get in the place with Him, the more we mature because we understand. Look, I'm gonna talk about it. Sabbath helps us to understand who we are. It helps us to understand who He is. It helps us to understand the Word.
Mhm.
It helps us to understand sometimes our process when we don't understand it. So when we get into the place where it is, um, it seems like it's not going to happen. It seems like things is not going to change. It seems like we just dug a hole, and He doesn't hear my prayers, because people will say that he don't hear me. He don't hear my prayer. Wait, Minister,
I
what?
say that, say that all the time. I tell Dr. Mathis that often. Can you pray? Because he hear you when you pray.
Oh my God.
Say it all the time.
But just think about it. People that had turned away because it didn't happen fast enough,
Mm. I
and
know someone
say,
who did.
yeah, and say, it doesn't work. I tried it. It doesn't work.
I,
People pray for patience. You don't have to
wow.
pray for patience,
Wow.
because patience is a part of your process. Learning how to obtain, how to be still and be patient. That's a part of the process.
Mm.
That's a that is a part of our pivoting. That is a part of our stand still and see the salvation. In so many words, that is a part of our lives. And we don't have to pray for that, because it's just like we're in school. So there's some things that we just have to experience, and we don't have to pray for.
They tell you not to pray for patience.
But people do.
And then all manners of things start to happen. But you pray for patience.
Yeah. And the word tells us we don't have to pray for it. But because my people perish for the lack of knowledge. We don't have an understanding of the word. We don't know how to really depend on the word, or to take him at his word. And we just quote what people say.
Come
I
on.
remember what I used to always hear, and I started using it for a minute there. Um, the Bible contradicts itself. Such lies, such lies. And I remember one time I started saying, "Oh, the Bible don't contradict itself. That's an insult. That's ignorance, because you don't know the word."
Mhm.
Can I tell you today? The Bible does not contradict itself. Yeshua said, I did not come to destroy it. I came to fulfill it, to bring you back to the original state of the first 5 books of the Torah. And when you learn to put that in perspective with the rest of the word, you'll see it doesn't contradict. It comes together and it connects. It's like connecting the dots to help you understand who Yeshua is, to help you understand who Yahweh is, to help you understand the characteristics of Elohim. It's all a part of our process of learning. And one thing Apostle always says, he says, we're in rehearsal. We're rehearsing, you know. And so as we continue through this aspect of our lives of being patient, not praying for patience, but learning how to, and only thing patience is resting in the Father. That's what patience is.
Mhm.
Resting in the Father as He takes you through the process.
Right.
Father, I don't know how you're going to do it, but I know you're going to do it.
Right. Trust.
Woo.
Trust.
We got
Trust.
to trust him.
You
Trust
gotta
in the
trust
word with all thy heart. Lean not to thy own understanding. All thy ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your path. It's not just a saying, there's an experience that's written in that scripture. And if you don't understand the experience, you'll never really understand that scripture.
Will you allow him to direct our path? That's the thing. Like you said, we quote a lot of things, but when the rubber meets the road, are you actually trusting him and allowing him to direct your path? Because if you're allowing him to direct your path, that delay will not seem so hard for you, where it's so taxing that you want to give up, because he is ordering my steps. He's a lamp unto my feet and a light unto my pathway. In all my ways, I acknowledge him. So he's directing my path. Even if that directing my path says, okay, sit here for a minute. Sit here for a minute. Okay, I trust you. I trust you. Because we say that a lot. It comes out of our mouths a lot. And he's like, okay, you trust me? Okay. Let's see. Watch this. Do you trust me? Do you trust me? When it honestly looks impossible,
Impossible.
do you still trust me? And do you trust me to work it out my way?
It's got
Not
to be his way.
your way, my
That's
way.
that's it. That's it.
Because sometimes he will work a thing out and it looks nothing like you thought it was going to look at, because he worked it out his way.
His way. My ways are not your ways. My thoughts are not your thoughts. So that means that whatever we have in our little feeble mind cannot match up to what he has in store for us. What he has in store for us is greater than we could ever think. It says, what's that saying? Well, one of them is faith, and I want to talk about faith for a minute, because when you're resting, you got to have faith. What is faith? Faith is the substance of things hoped for, the evidence of things not seen. Faith, it comes through hearing and hearing and hearing the word. Hearing and hearing and hearing the word. Hearing develops one level, hearing develops another level, hearing develops another level. We have levels that we've got to get to in the kingdom, in the Father. And every shift that he makes, every shift that he takes us through, we've got to be able to stand on the word. When you get into that new shift, it doesn't feel right. It feels uncomfortable. You're not sure what's going on until it levels off. Every level you come to, there's a leveling off that has to take place because you've never been there. And it
Mm.
feels funny. I don't know why I feel this way. I don't know what's going on. There's a shift that he's doing in your life to cause you no longer to be the same way you were.
Yes.
He doesn't want us to be how the world has shaped us to be. That's what it is. The world has shaped us from children, through our parents, through our teachers, through just watching things in society. So now he has to unshape those things and make them more and more like him, what he created us to be before we even came to earth. The day we was born just like he wanted us to be.
Yes.
And then the world came in and shaped us. And that's what David was saying. Behold, I was shapen in iniquity, and in sin did my mother conceive me. And then he says, behold, thou desirest truth on the inward part, and in the hidden part thou shalt make me to know wisdom. At first, he was like, well, in other words, Father, you got to understand where I came from. You got to understand I was born in sin, and I was shaped in iniquity. And then he said, but nevertheless, behold, listen here, thou desire truth. You want more from me. You expect more from me.
Hmm.
He says, purge me
Come on.
with hyssop, and I will be clean.
Come on.
Wash me,
Come
and
on.
I shall be whiter than snow. Make me to know, hear joy and gladness, that the bones which thou hast broken may rejoice.
That you broken, Yahweh. The bones that you broke, that they'll rejoice because you're breaking them. How many of us rejoice when Yahweh's breaking, breaking you, breaking your arrogance, breaking your pride, breaking your stiff-neckedness, breaking your stubbornness, breaking your complaining, breaking your procrastination, breaking your doubt, breaking your fear, breaking your lack of trust. How many of us will rejoice as he's breaking the bones? Woo! Mm, mm, mm.
He says, make me to hear joy
Help
and
me to
gladness.
find pleasure in this. Woo! Help me to find joy in what you're doing to me. It don't feel good. It hurts. It's painful. It's uncomfortable. But help me to hear joy in you breaking me, Yahweh. Uh,
Yeah. And then where do I want to go? And he says, create in me a clean heart, O Elohim, and renew a right spirit within me. Cast me not away.
please don't.
Cast me not from thy presence. And take not the Holy Spirit from me. Take not Ruach from me. Don't let me be on the outside looking in. Hey, Sister Carmen, welcome. There was something else here I wanted to read. It was down further, but if we just continue to read, because we know that David was pouring out himself. He was pouring out himself. He said, "Then I will teach," and I love this part right here. Then I will teach transgressors their ways, and the sinner man shall be converted unto thee. It wasn't. He's like, look, it's not about me. I got a whole kingdom I got to run. I got people that's looking at me, watching me, and if I'm living this old raggedy life, I can never be able to lead them to you. But Father, forgive me for my own feeble ways and thoughts. Why? So that I may teach transgressors their ways, and the sinner man shall be converted unto thee. Not him, unto thee. Deliver me from blood guiltness, O Elohim, thou Elohim of my salvation. And my tongue shall sing aloud of thy righteousness. Going to tell everybody about the word. Going to begin to be boisterous with who's inside of him. You know, that word that wells up and causes living waters to for me to survive, to thrive, to survive, to no longer be suffocated by my own ways and sins. And when the prophet came to him, he was boastful, and he's talking about whoever this is, bring them to me. We're gonna end this today. There was it Nehemiah? And the prophet said, it's you. How many times does the Father show us ourselves when we're thinking it's somebody else? when we think that what we're doing is we've gotten away with it. I'm not going to say okay. We think we've gotten away with it, only to find out that we haven't. And he brings us face to face with ourselves. He warns us, if you don't get this together,
Mhm.
15. O Adonai, open down my lips, and my mouth shall show forth thy praises. For thou desirest is not sacrifice. I got the money.
Hmm.
I can give you the money, else I would give it. Thou delightest not in burnt offerings. The sacrifices of Elohim are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. O Elohim, thou wilt not despise.
That right there. That
That's
that
it.
right there. That right there. You it's not a sacrifice that you're after. Because if it was a sacrifice, then that's easy. I could give that to you. Listen to what David is saying. If it was a sacrifice, I could give that to you, but that's not what you're looking for. If you delighted in the burnt offerings, I could give that, but that's not what you're delighting in. That's not what you're requiring of me. That's not what you want from me. But the real sacrifice of you, Elohim, are a broken spirit, a broken and a contrite heart. That you won't despise. When my spirit is broken and my heart is broken and is contrite, that you won't despise. You won't reject that. You won't turn that away. That's what you're looking for. Ugh.
Today, your delay is not the end. It's the beginning of a new life. It's a beginning of a process that you have not gone through yet. But you gotta be willing. Thank you, ladies. You gotta be willing. You've got to be willing. That's all I keep hearing. You've got to be willing. We can talk all day long. You can go back and look at the recording, and even going back and look at the recording and still choose to live your life the way you want to live it. And then be mad at Yahweh because things aren't going the way you think they should go. When he told us from the Old Testament to the New Testament, it's not our way. He didn't bring us here to just leave us. He didn't just create us and say, go about your business, do what you want to do. But he was willingly gave us free will to make our own decision to want to serve him, to want to do better, to want to change our lives, to want to let the light so shine within us that men might glorify the Father. David, he wasn't doing this for himself. He was doing it for himself, but because he has a whole heap of people he needs to lead. Yes, obedience is better than sacrifice, for sure. A whole group of people he needs to lead. So I don't know. Go ahead, Minister One.
I would just say that there is a song that says, "Nobody told me that the
At the
road
road, King James Cleveland.
yes would be easy. but I don't believe he brought me this far to leave me. Now they didn't. I was the one that thought when I got saved I was gonna be frolicking through the lilies and the tulips of the field.
Exactly.
I thought that when I got saved. Now it's all good and that baby,
We might need to
it's gonna
talk
be
about that next
good.
weekend.
It's gonna
I mean,
be
next
lit
Sunday.
now because I'm saved.
I'm in heaven.
Listen, ain't no problems, no everything. All I got to do is talk to my father. Nobody told me,
That the road would be easy.
but I
But I
don't
don't believe
he
he brought
brought
me
me
this
this
far
far to
to
leave
leave.
me. Delay is not the time to give up. I say if it's delayed, just buckle down and ride it out with Yahweh. We riding, we riding. We ride. We got snacks, we got snacks. We got water, we got water. Do we need to stop at the Piggly Wiggly? What we need to do? I'm riding with you, Yahweh. I'm
Ah,
riding with you. Where you go, where you lead,
hallelujah.
I will
I
follow.
will follow. That's what we say, don't we?
Mhm.
But is it really true? So, we're just so glad that you were here today. And yes, the topic was delayed is not the time to give up. Just trust the process, even when it's unclear.
Come
Your
on.
story is still unfolding.
Come on. So let
Your
it unfold.
story.
Let it unfold. Everybody's story is different. Just let it unfold and let Yahweh write a beautiful story for you. Because the end, what do we say all the time? Your latter will be
Is great.
greater. The end will be one that is phenomenal and magnificent. But you got to ride it out to
You
get
got
to
to
the end of
ride
the
it out.
story. Yeah.
Yep. It's your moment to recalibrate, grow, and prepare for your next level. So we're just so grateful today. This was good to me. This was good to me. And as I said in the beginning, we want to tell Minister Wanda happy birthday.
And
And
Prophet Leslie, happy birthday, because her birthday is
you know,
Tuesday.
you don't know.
I need access so I could put my own stuff up. I
You
was
do
like,
have
I want to say
access.
something for her, but I don't have access to put my own stuff up. So I'm
You
gonna put it on
should,
her page. I'm gonna put it on
but
her page. But we want to
yeah,
make sure that even though she's celebrating me, and I promise you, I tell her every year, please don't. Um, I want to make sure that we celebrate our host because she is so amazing. And she looks so beautiful today. Those colors look amazing on her, and her hair is fire. But
thank
we're
you.
grateful to Prophet Leslie because each week she comes on and she is literally giving us stuff that, well, and I say stuff, I mean important things that are is literally helping us to shape our lives and help us in this walk in the kingdom. We are literally coming here every week because Prophet Leslie said yes. And so we want to say thank you. We are so grateful for your life. And Tuesday, we're going to flood her page with happy birthdays and on Leslie's Lessons Learned and happy birthdays. And while she put my Cash App up there, she gonna put her Cash App up there so we can bless her with a cup of coffee or something. And listen, I wanted to say this. I told her I was gonna say this. If Leslie's Lessons Learned, whatever, has been a blessing in
I'm getting
your
ready to mute you.
sometimes, you guys, just throw a little something her way for a cup of coffee, you know, and or some tea and a scones, you know, uh maybe a lunch on you. Throw something her out, just drop it in in the Cash App or Zelle for her, just to let you know that the program has been blessing your lives. And I told her I was going to do that. And I want us to start doing that.
Please. All is well. I do want you to be a blessing to dear Minister Wanda. She comes on every Sunday at 6 a.m. in the morning, and she doesn't complain. She don't even get paid, but she loves Yahweh enough. So please, I did put her Cash App in there. I would love it if you would be a blessing to her. She's a awesome woman. Thank you, Sister Michelle. Awesome woman of God. She pours into us every week, and we cannot be more thankful for who you are in our lives. And as you continue, as um, Sister Michelle was saying, long and strong, live long and strong. It says to both of us, thank you, celebrating a personal new year. It is
Amen.
following with his best. And we are so appreciative of that. Thank you so much. But until we meet again, we want to tell you to uh, live life. Live life. We want you not to live it your way, but live it the way Yahweh has designed. So it might take a minute to get there, but the design that He's doing is like no other. Can't nobody be you. I can't be you. Minister Wanda can't be you. I can't be Minister Wanda. Minister Wanda can't be me. Each and every one of us are tailor made. He loved it. He could have just made one pattern and said everybody is the same, but he didn't. None of us had the same fingerprints. None of us might look like we look alike, but there's always something to identify us that something is different. Now, in the kingdom, we should look alike. The light should be shining. The manifestation of his love should be coming out of us. The manifestation of who he is in our lives, people should be able to see it. Why? We're coming from one body.
Mm.
So as you go through your week, just remember whose you are. And remember that he loves you so much that not only did he make you different, but he made you to be great. Yeah, you might not think so, but each and every one of us, there's no way you can be part of the kingdom and not be great. That doesn't mean that you're on everybody's platform. It just means who you are. The greatness that's in you will begin to shine. So thank you so much for being here. A generous person will prosper. Whosoever refresh, others will refresh. Amen. So be great today and
Yes.
let the joy of the Lord be your strength. And everything give thanks. Go ahead, Minister One. You was going to say something.
Nope.
Oh,
Everything. Give thanks.
have an amazing day. We love you. But
Yes, we do.
always remember, we can't love you like Yahweh loves you, but we can love you the way we know how. Yahweh's still working on us.
Yes.
So don't forget that you are one of his children and he loves you enough to have let you have the best. So until we meet next Sunday, have an amazing day and be blessed.
Shalom, everyone.